Welcome to My Money Mindset podcast, where we explore how a healthy mindset is the foundation for financial success. Each week, we delve into mindset hacks and practical strategies to help you enhance your income, help you make more appropriate investments for yourself, and to improve your overall financial well-being. Join us on this journey to transform your financial future by transforming your mindset. Please note that the information provided on this podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute as personal, financial or health advice. It has been prepared without considering your individual objectives, financial situation or life needs. Before making any financial or health decisions, you should consult with a qualified professional or financial advisor to ensure the information aligns with your specific circumstances. So let's begin and enjoy this journey as each episode teaches us on how to improve our overall mindset that overall improves our financial success. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Money Mindset. In this episode I wanted to talk about mindset in when things are sort of going wrong in life and making decisions based on your investments when sometimes things go wrong in life and we want to be able to make a decision but we're not sure what to do with our investments, and it can sometimes be an emergency when we've got to make that decision. So it's all well when we're looking for investments. So in other words, when we're looking for an investment, we've sort of had a lot of time to organise stuff, strategically work out what we want to do with it. We want to find out what are the benefits of the investment. So we've got a lot of time around our strategy to be able to implement and make sure that that investment is the proper investment for yourself. I did an episode a while ago in relation to working out what sort of an investment would suit you, etc. But in this episode, I want to sort of talk about what to do with that investment when something goes wrong in life. It may be an emergency, it could be medical emergency, it could be anything. But sometimes it does happen that we need to make decisions based on things that happen in life. Now, first of all, one thing I really want to identify is that emergency could mean medical, could mean there could be a divorce or a death or something that has initiated you to sort of think, hey, I need to get the money out of this investment. It could mean it's a property, it could mean that the shares, it could be bonds, it could be anything, ETFs. But, and the nature of this investment can critically make or influence the decision that you make on this investment, whether you sell it or buy it. So for instance, what I mean by that is that property often is something, when you go to sell property, it takes a lot longer. It could take up to 3 months, 2 months, 6 months. You've got to engage an agent. You've got to make sure that everything is being done in relevance to the property. You've got to put it on the market for at least 30 days to get a good, proper campaign around it. You need to sort of make sure that you've got at least 3 months, guys. Sometimes it can be quicker, organising conveyances and solicitors and so on and so forth, but really 3 months. So if you were to want to sell the property today, you need 3 months up your sleeve. Now, the other thing with shares, ETFs, that sort of stuff, it is very easily to liquefy. So basically you say, look, I've got these shares, a share portfolio, I want to sell them. It can happen within 24 hours, 12 hours, 36 hours a week, depending on the price that you're nominating, and it happens pretty quick. So that's why a lot of investors, which I would also endorse as well, to diversify your investment portfolio into properties, shares, ETFs, stuff like that. And if you're into Bitcoin, depending on the level of risk that you have, it's all relative. But when it comes to making a decision what investment to sell, one thing what we've got to understand is that there are a few factors that we've got to consider here. And number one factor is yourself. But what I'm going to do is talk about in reverse. And the other factor is, I'll talk about yourself in a moment. But the second factor that you've got to remember is the professional of people, circle of professionals that you engage with. Say your accountant, could be a planner, could be a broker, could be a solicitor, could be your next door neighbour, could be whoever. But whoever you're entrusting in information and guidance when it comes to this sort of stuff as an investment, you really need to engage with them, get their sort of what they know you, what they should be doing. An accountant may have a different perspective on your investment or investments than what a financial planner would. I would have an open mind. Now, this is the difficult part. When it's an emergency and you need cash in a hurry or whatever the situation may be, you really got to think rationally, open-mindedly, and make the decision calculatingly, just the same way you did when you were buying that investment. Now, do you have to sell the investment? Are there ways of going around it that you don't have to, do you have to sell the investment? Is there ways of going around it so you don't have to sell the investment? Are there ways that we can have a look at the investment and say, okay, is there an equity draw out? If it's a property, can we draw equity out on that? Can we substitute some of your investments as in shares, place it into the property or liquefy the shares, and sort of somewhat, depending on the structure and where these properties or shares are held, if they're in a trust, so on and so forth, it can get rather complicated, and it does chew up a little bit of time when trying to work all this out. So make sure that the professionals you engage with naturally are the ones that know you quite best or know your financials quite best and actually understand the nature it is what these investments are there for you. Too many times that I do speak to people about how's your accountant, what did they advise, and they'll say, well, you're broke, and they'll say, well, they said to do X, Y, Z, but really we bought this investment for ABC. Like there was totally different, irrelevant, conflicting sort of ideas about this investment, and all of a sudden the accountant's advising something where you sort of, it rubs you the wrong way because you of all people who own the investment, or people's, so you may have this investment with multiple people, are the ones that know all the benefits, all the good and the bad things that come with the investments, all the sweat equity that you've had to put in, all the money that's involved, realistically, and your accountant should as well. But what I'm talking about is the nature of this investment and how it suits you to your life. So if you had purchased a property as an investment because you were going to retire and have this as an income of rental income, for instance, express these things to your accountant. Make sure that they have a really good overlay of your situation, not just the numbers, but also how it relates to your endeavors and fast tracking it. Is it a 3-month situation, or is it a 3-year or a 30-year situation that you need to get this money out quick stick? So very important. I tend to say, look, really, when it comes to an emergency, a lot of people shoot from the hip. We just got to sell this, sell that, get the money in somehow. Yes, it may be that way, but if it's, you've got a little bit of time to squeeze to make these decisions and speak to the relevant people that know you and so on and so forth, really banter that across. Now, going back to what you've got to consider, there's also a lot of other factors as in real estate agents and so on and so forth. Your stockbroker, speak to these people. What's the market doing now? If we can afford to hold off in 30 days, 6 months, a lot of people, I've been recently having a lot of the discussions with property owners, especially in Victoria where the land tax is going up and holding property is becoming quite difficult, especially when the interest rates were going up. And a lot of the conversations I was having, still are having with investors, and my clients are asking, hey, we want to sell our investment property or properties because we really don't think that they're making money, and we want to pressure test what other diversities we have. Now, yes, that is, we've all, it's all due to circumstances on an individual circumstance, right? So what's right for one person today could be something different for another. So, but what I am saying what we're expecting, especially with the latest interest rate drops, we're sort of expecting also with the housing scheme that is being introduced, and it has been introduced, and all the changes that it's actually going to happen in October of 2025. This is going to maybe push the prices of properties up slightly, especially for first home owners that are going to be hitting the market or are hitting the market now. Along with the interest rate drops, we've sort of got a lot of influence here that the sort of circumstances are going to say, well, hey, if there's more people looking on the property market today, and this is property, right? then that's probably the demand's going to go up. Therefore, price is probably going to go up. So if you can hold out on your investments, and it's not so much an emergency or this emergency can wait, you're probably going to get a lot more for your property if you were to sell it and wait for this sort of demand rush to push prices up accordingly, right? So, I mean, look, horses for courses. It's one of those things. That's for property. Could be other circumstances that you could be seeing things if you've got ETFs that are worldwide or in the US, government decisions, what's going on in the world, all that, they have a massive influence on the share price. You can see where I'm going with that. So, okay, now let's have a look. Before I was talking about what to consider, the first most important thing to consider here, not just your professionals, but I take it to yourself, and it's you and the parties that own the investment, to make sure that communication, thought processes, planning, strategies are as transparent as all can possibly be. And what I mean by transparency, it's, let's say for instance, you own a property with a partner, you need to communicate. I tend to say keep emotions out of investment decisions, but sometimes as humans, as what we all are, emotions do get tied in. And if you've got a property that's tied in emotionally with a person that needs to sell this property and so on and so forth, there's so many different, I'm not going to bore you to tears with the way these structures can be set up, but what tends to happen here is that when there is an emergency, we often do not think the same way we should be thinking when there's not. So for instance, it's pretty much like if you've got time, then you've got time to make decisions, then better those decisions or the outcomes of those decisions, because you're able to bounce those ideas around in your head and talk to your investment partners and so on and so forth. But when it comes to emergencies, you can be explosive or reactive when it comes to making decisions. So how do we get around that? Well, number one, I always believe there's no such time like the present to start especially when you're investing, to start calming down in yourself, in your own personality. And what I mean by that is you'll quite often find that investors that are prepared to wait, that are calm, that are more about understanding the nature of things, what's going on in the economy, their government decisions, what's all going on, and breathe, learn to calm down and make that decision based on the investment, you'll often find those investors are the ones that, especially the ones that are not as reactive or just want to make quick money fast, those that understand the nature of investing or true investment and the true capital compounding effects that it does happen year after year, are the ones that are most likely going to be more successful. So, and that's not to say if you're a calm person, when you make decisions, you really collaborate and analyze everything. But it also means that you've got to learn to understand that you should remain to the same mental stability in calmness when wanting to sell or make a decision upon selling those investments. And the secret here is to remain calm. Now, how do we do that? Especially when it's an emergency, depending, it could be health and or any type of emergency that really sort of influences you in a negative way. You have to remain calm. Whatever that takes. And look, I'm a very strong believer in meditation. Meditation as in breathing exercises. Breathing is probably, and health for that matter, is the most important thing, and plenty of water, believe it or not. I'm a very strong advocate for drinking water, making sure that the brain is operating full 8 cylinders. I'm a full advocate of making sure that you're breathing, keeping calm. Make sure, I mean, it's all related to your physical and mental health. And that is the most important thing here, because ideally your investment is dependent on you, and it's you that are the one that's controlling this investment when it should be sold or when it shouldn't be sold, and when it should be purchased, and so on and so forth. If your health is not tip-top, then you're not tip-top. Then neither is the decision based around an investment or the next strategy to implement to this investment. So investment relies on you. You rely on your health. Make sure that you eat right, plenty of water, plenty of fluids. I sound like a doctor at the moment, but it's so bloody true, because and make sure that the breathing exercise, meditation is the best way to calm down, to refocus. Go for a walk. Make sure that you're keeping up physical exercise. If you're smoking, quit smoking. Don't need a drink or smoke when you're trying to calm your nerves down, obviously, because a lot of people argue, oh, look, that calms my nerves and I really can. Look, guys, realistically, well, I'm not saying to give up these bad trades, but what I am saying is when it comes to peak performance, when it comes to investing and money, governing the decisions around your financial wealth, it requires you to be in probably a state of true concentration, focus upon you, not just the numbers, but also what's going on around you, what's going on around in your family, in your business, in your environment, your career, in your social aspects. Are certain things affecting your decisions? How do we work that out as individual investors or potential investors, how these negative things could be affecting? Or are these positive attributes are affecting? If you've got positive attributes affecting your investment, you say, hey, that's a great thing. Yes, it is. But was it positive when you bought the investment? Then all of a sudden changes occurred in your life where you don't have those positive attributes that really changed you as a person when you bought this investment. Now all of a sudden, socially, or who knows what's going on in your life, and it's sort of, you don't have that positive backing or influence, you make these silly decisions. So that's what I'm saying, before you make any of these decisions that could cost a lot of money, as in opportunity costs, etc., make sure that you have your health up tip top. Meditation, breathing exercises, fantastic, regular walks, etc. You know where I'm going with this. Look, I hope this helps. Look, when it comes to selling investments, either properties or shares, it is a difficult time. It's best sometimes not to shoot from the hip. Sometimes it's a bit like playing lotto, because you just don't know if you're going to win or lose on that investment. Always take the time. 24 hours is a very long time to either help you make decisions, help you plan on those decisions, and implement how to sell that investment. But also remember that even if it's 24 hours or longer, whatever it takes, every circumstance is different, especially when it comes to an investment. And the most important thing with an investment is not only when you buy it, but also when you sell it. And if you can really break the fundamental question of when do I sell, what do I sell, how do I sell, all that, break it down, amortize it into a schedule or a booklet, make sure you write those notes down. You can always refer back to those notes. And what I often do, it's pretty much like when you go shopping for something and you go, do I really need to buy it? And if I keep thinking about this item 3 hours later or 3 days later, then you should go buy it. The same thing is for an investment when you sell it. Write the ideas down of what you're thinking today, whilst you're at a different emotional state than what you will be tonight or the following day or a week later, and revise those notes and look back on them, if you've got the time, of course. But look back on those notes and then say, what was I thinking? Or, hey, I was on the right track. Because it's often when you're in a state of mind that you're thinking one thing, and then you could be looking at it 12 hours later, and it could be a totally different aspect of what or why you are selling this investment. So the reason why I'm pressure testing this is to really make sure that once you do make the decision to sell something as an investment, especially, and it was originally purchased for the intent of making money, and now that you need that money, and it's because it's an emergency, you don't have that time to collaborate or get the answer that you think you need there and then in a hurry, make sure you break it down and speak to everyone. Every circumstance is different. There's no quick, decision here or solution. Everyone is decision, even though investments are quite similar in nature, and but concerns, emergencies pop up at the worst time, and so too your mind has to be ready for that when it does occur. I hope this helps, guys. Always hit me up if you do have any questions or you think I could have covered off something else that may help, and see you on the next episode. All the best.